It's Friday, February 20th, 2026, and we have a potentially major snowstorm for the Mid-Atlantic and New England that we need to talk about today. We're also watching the potential for some severe weather in the southeast as we move into Saturday. And cold air is plunging back into the plains and out east. We're going to get another taste of winter here, and I'll let you know if I think it's here to stay. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And of course, if you like the video, like the video. Let's get into the weather updates. Let's quickly start by taking a look at our live radar. You can see we have some winter storm warnings out here in California, Utah, portions of Colorado and New Mexico, also up here through Iowa and Wisconsin, and then up in New England, northeastern upstate New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Now, this snow that's currently moving through Wisconsin is beginning to wrap around, and we could see some of this snow try to approach cities like Milwaukee and Chicago as we move throughout the day today. I don't expect it to be heavy, but again, the snow will begin to move off into the east. We do still have a line of pretty strong thunderstorms moving through Virginia and North Carolina off into the east. Not severe, but you could have some gusty conditions and some heavy downpours. And a mix of heavy rain and snow is moving off to the northeast. Now, this is mostly going to be snow as it begins to move through portions of Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire. All right, now let's take a look at our 7 to 10 day forecast. So here we go as we move throughout the day today. You can see that snow out in the Rockies is beginning to move east. We have some cooler conditions here out in the Rockies, northern plains, and pushing down into the central plains. That snow, like I said, in Wisconsin is going to begin to move east, and we could see some good snow totals through portions of northeastern upstate New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, potentially Maine. We could also see decent snow through portions of Connecticut as well. It really just depends how quickly this snow transitions over. Moving through tomorrow morning, we're still snowing up there in New England. We could see areas get 8, 9+ inches of snow on the high end. You can see we still have cold air collapsing out west, and we have some potentially thunder showers in the southeast that could turn into strong to severe thunderstorms as we move throughout the day on Saturday. Getting into the day later on Saturday, this is the area we're watching for severe weather, potentially portions of southern Mississippi, central to southern Alabama and Georgia, and the panhandle of Florida. We may want to watch that southern tip of South Carolina as well. And you can see our polar jet beginning to buckle here. This is important because this is what's going to help us with our snowstorm in the Mid-Atlantic and New England as we move into Sunday. Here we go, getting into Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. We start to get this low pressure forming off the coast here. That's because we have a trough diving down into a piece of energy that's riding up the coast here. This does have the potential to really be a blockbuster nor'easter, but there's also some models that want to keep it a little bit further offshore and a little bit weaker. I actually like what I've been seeing lately in the model trends, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But here we go as we get into Sunday afternoon. We're snowing through portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, potentially West Virginia, Maryland, and then we move into Sunday night. Now we're starting to get snow into New Jersey, Long Island, New York City. Moving into Monday morning, now we're snowing through portions of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. This is moving up the New England coast. And very cold air is sinking in behind the system, including all the way down into the southeast. You could see temperatures all the way as far south as Florida, 10 to 20 degrees below average. All right, so now we're pushing through Monday night into Tuesday morning. That storm's out of our hair. What's next? Well, we may see some clipper systems, 1 or 2 beginning to move through the upper Midwest, trying to push out back towards the Mid-Atlantic and the East Coast. Here we go, moving through Tuesday and into Wednesday. You can see this storm moves through northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. We're getting some good snow across Michigan Wednesday morning. And here we go. Maybe a little bit more snow for the New England and Mid-Atlantic coast. If we do get some bands of decent snow here, it could accumulate quick because we're going to have snow on the ground. So we're not going to have that period of initial snow melt as the snow hits the surface. So an overperformance here is possible. I'd pay attention to what's happening with this system Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, right behind it, here we go. Maybe a snowstorm through portions of the Dakotas, Montana, and this could be headed right through Minneapolis out towards Milwaukee and Chicago. Here's our second clipper on Wednesday. There we go. And through Michigan. Now it's trying to stay north of Chicago on this run. We'll see if this collapses a little bit more. But notice on the south end here, we're probably going to be watching for the potential for severe weather once again through the Ohio Valley. This is going to be Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And then as we push through Thursday and into Friday, we'll watch for some severe weather down in the southeast here and potentially some more snow for inner New England. Now I haven't touched much on the west. It's going to dry up as we move through this weekend. You can see the Pacific Northwest, though, in particular, should still have a lot of moisture moving into it. This is going to be high elevation snow and low elevation rain, but the Rockies and much of the west is going to be dry during this time frame for the most part. You could see some ridging out there as well, so slightly above average temperatures. Again, though, Northern California, Oregon, Washington could see some heavy rainfall and still some good snow throughout this time period. And then as we do get into the middle and late next week, some good snow for the Northern Rockies there as well. Let's get into the details of this potential nor'easter or major Mid-Atlantic and New England snowstorm. I want to show you what's happening here. What is causing this? So we have a piece of energy down to the south here. This is what we're looking at. This is what's going to bring us our moisture, and we need a piece of heavy cold air to really drive into this, begin to tilt it so this low can bomb out off the coast, and we can get that classic big snowstorm or nor'easter off the Mid-Atlantic or New England coast. Well, watch what happens here as we move forward in time. This is getting into Saturday night. Here's our piece of energy to the south here. Here's this heavy piece of cold cold Arctic air to the north. This is beginning to drive into this piece to the south. This is going to begin to tilt our jet stream. We're going to get that southwesterly flow. And as that happens, warm air is going to be injected into the system with cold air being pulled in behind it. And this is what makes low pressures bomb out, strengthen, and begin to tilt and move up into the northeast and not run off the coast. So here we go, getting into Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. Watch this piece of energy way down on our piece of energy to the south here. There it is. And then you start to see right there. Okay, so this is going to be Sunday afternoon. Now watch what happens as we get into Sunday evening. I want you to watch really closely what happens here. You're going to see what we call divergence. And that's basically when air particles in the upper troposphere begin to move away from each other and they create a pocket for moisture to rise. And this allows clouds to rapidly form. And this is what creates your big snowstorm. So here we go. Watch right there, and there it is. You start to see a ton of divergence out here across the mid-Atlantic and New England coast. Again, because that cold, heavy Arctic air is beginning to weigh in on our piece of energy from the south. You have warm air being pulled in off of the Atlantic, cold air diving in from the northwest. Our system's tilting. This looks pretty good right here on the 06Z Euro. Now, it's still slightly off the coast, but the Euro over the last 72 hours has really given us a good opportunity out here. So what does this look like? Well, we're going to look at a couple models. On the GFS, this actually begins to tilt and bomb out a little bit quicker. This would be, we're talking a potentially historic snowstorm if the GFS is correct. I think the GFS is overdoing it, and I think the Euro is underdoing it. I think a blend of them is what could possibly happen, but you could see the GFS right here. We're talking about potentially a snowfall rate of 1.5 inches an hour for portions of Maryland, central to southern New Jersey, Philadelphia, potentially up through New York City, Long Island, and Boston on the GFS. I think this is being too aggressive. We take a look at the Canadian. I actually think this is a better model here because this is kind of a blend of the Euro and the GFS. The Euro actually has a little bit less snow here, but still some good snow on the Euro. I mean, we're going to see a widespread swath, likely of 3 to 7 inches across the coast here, but there's going to be areas that receive less, and I think there's going to be areas that receive a lot more. Now, I want to show you the national blend real quick, and this is a very conservative model, so I actually expect to see higher snow totals in this. The national blend has to average in runs that also show basically no snow here, so it really brings down what the expected totals are. I want to show you this because where the confidence is, the darker blues and the purples. Okay, so we're seeing out here near the coast, we're seeing here through portions of Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey looks really good, central to southern New Jersey. Again, we're seeing 4 to 8 inches of snow through here on the national blend, and this is weighing in models that don't really show any snow in this area. So this is some decent confidence from the latest national blend. If I had to give you my honest opinion, I actually think this is pretty realistic. I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 to 6 inches out through this corridor here, and I wouldn't be surprised to potentially see 5 to 8 inches out closer to the coast here. Now, again, we could see a lot more than that. We could see a lot less than that, but we're getting into our short ranges tomorrow. We're going to take a look at what the National Weather Service thinks. That's kind of my preliminary thoughts, but I'm excited to get into our short ranges later tonight and tomorrow. Another thing that we're going to have to watch really closely that I haven't seen a ton of people talking about is dry slotting. I do think there is going to be some dry air pulled into the storm. You can see it happening here on the Euro, where we have heavy snow out here, inch an hour snow here, we have inch an hour snow out here, but we have some dry air being injected into the middle. Now, yes, you still see blues on this map, but these lighter blues are typically just snow bands here and there. They're not a big bulk of snow that's dumping across the board. And if this were to happen, we could see a section of, say, 4 to 7 inches out here, 4 to 7 inches out here, and then 1 to 2 through New Jersey. Now, it's highly unlikely this is how the storm's going to play out. The Euro is going to continue to update. I don't think this is exactly where our dry slot's going to be. I'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about where that dry slot could be once we get into our short ranges, but we're likely going to have a dry slot somewhere. So someone's going to be disappointed, I think, but other people, again, might get more than expected. The National Weather Service is beginning to weigh in on what they expect the snow totals to be as well for this Sunday and Monday storm out there across the Mid-Atlantic and New England. And we're looking at potentially 5 to 6 inches across New Jersey. And this is early. They could easily push these snow totals way up or way down, but this early to already be expecting 5 to 6 inches across New Jersey is pretty good. We're seeing pretty much the same thing for New York City, Long Island, a few inches, maybe 3 to 5, Philadelphia. We're seeing 2 to 3 maybe from DC to Baltimore. Good snow, obviously, for West Virginia, most of Pennsylvania. So the National Weather Service is expecting some decent plowable snow out here already. And by the way, that's just the expected totals. Look at the high end. We're talking potentially 18 inches of snow through portions of central to southern New Jersey. Now, this is the high end, meaning it's only about a 10% chance of this happening, at least according to the National Weather Service. But the high end does show a large swath of 8 to basically, like I said, 18 inches, stretching from portions of Northern Virginia through Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the way up through New York City and Long Island. So things could get really interesting as we continue to get our model updates and as we continue to track this storm. I did quickly want to touch on our severe weather event for Saturday. So here we go. This is getting into Saturday afternoon. We're talking potentially between 2 and 4 p.m. This could change. Storms speed up and slow down. Start to see a line of storms forming, really stretching almost from southeastern Louisiana through southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, and then up there again in southern South Carolina. And then as we move through the evening, this continues to move off into the east, and we could get some severe storms down into the panhandle of Florida potentially as well. So this is something, if you're in the southeast, you might want to pay attention to. Last but not least, we have warmed up out east, but cold air is returning. This is the latest from our European ensemble. Here's the cool down in the plains happening as we move into Saturday. It's really already cooling down in the plains right now. But then we push into Sunday and Monday, and look at all of that cold air pushing down into the southeast. Again, we're talking 10 to 20 plus degrees below average out in this region here. So it's going to feel good. Your winter's not over yet. And I do think March brings with it a couple of major cold blasts as well. But I'll get into more of that with my March outlook that I have coming out soon. And then getting into early next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, we're still cold out east, and we have more cold air moving into the upper Midwest. A brief warm up, but again, I think more cold air moves in after that. Now, the Climate Prediction Center has us very warm across much of the country for the next couple of weeks. I mean, they have us pretty much above average through this entire region here. I think they're overdoing the warmth a little bit out here, just taking a look at the updated models, but we'll see. That's just my opinion. I do see a good amount of cold air to pull from still up there in Western Canada. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I try and upload videos like this every single day and live stream every single day. I was gone the last few days on a work trip, but I'm back. And if you want to take a look at all of these snow maps and really everything I talk about in my videos, you can join my Discord. It is all in there. The latest snowfall forecast, temperature forecast, severe weather forecast, everything is in the Discord, and it is completely free. The link is right down in the description of all of my YouTube videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream.